I'm back again. So it's not like it's a less than pleasant day outside. We'll just say it that way. So I'm not outside today, and this bothers me. I like to be outside because when I'm inside, I feel like I get stuck. When I go for walks, I can think, observe, expand, and I understand better that which I'm trying to think about. And so today was no exception. I was sitting there trying to decide what I was going to do next, and nothing felt like anything I wanted to do. I just wanted to go outside. So I bundled up, which, by the way, I need a hat. And hats off to every single one of my military and veteran friends that are of the masculine form that have to wear their hair very short. As I was walking back, I was thinking of the seamen in basic training in Chicago right now. And I was like, wow, they're all bald-headed. Those poor men. That's what I was thinking about on my way home. But on my way out, I had a light bulb aha moment that led to a breakthrough. So as I'm thinking about the video that I had just posted, I was talking about the different archetypes and the cycles through which I went through in my life, and I broke it down into a total of 3 cycles completed, but I didn't talk about the first one. I didn't talk about it because I just labeled it as the tutorial level, and then went on from the age of 16 through to 40, well, almost 41. So as I'm walking, I see it lay out perfectly based in the Zodiacal calendar. As I mentioned in the video, these cycles are 12 years long. The first 4 years are not within the cycle because this is your data acquisition time. Okay, this is you getting used to you being in your environment. All you're doing is soaking up information. In child development in the psychological world, they explain that in the first 7 years of life, which is actually 8 years, 0 to 7, you are a major sponge. And we know that. That's why we teach children the way we teach children, is because they observe and perform everything that they see. Okay? In those first 4 years, this is like you being inside of the plastic baggie and you're the goldfish that just came from the fair. And so you're inside of the fish tank, acclimating to the water, acclimating to your environment, understanding the archetypes around you in an unconscious way. You're downloading all of the information you're going to need to get you through life, which is actually why we're very egocentric as children, because all of the information that comes to us revolves around us. For example, you touch a hot stove, it hurts your hand, you learn that's hot, right? So that is centered on you and that stove and what happens between you. So everything that happens in your environment to a child is because of you. So this is the beginning stages of the formation, which is why your 0 to 4 is not inside of a cycle. That's like a cycle in and of itself. And then you move into, well, let's just say that this is the end of the very first cycle. The cycle from absolutely all potential and no control, sperm and egg, to formation of baby, second level, right? Then to the awakening of the baby to the environment, to the baby graduating to being able to express self. So if you look at it as the first 3-4 months of pregnancy are the lower 3 stages that I'm going to talk about in a second. And then the next part till the birth is the second of the third 3 part of the trine, or not trine, the cycle. And then 0 to 4 is the last 4 of that 12 cycle. Okay, so let me break it down, okay? Explain it this way. Every cycle is 12, okay? But there is the possibility of 13, but you have to be able to pass 12 in order to see 13. I've spoken about this before, about how Sagittarius and Ophiuchus are right now exactly at the same time in the sun sign, because the sun goes right between them. They're both actually in there. We only talk about Sagittarius because that's what we use in the Western astrology. And if you are a believer of those who want to keep you trapped in the cycle, okay, cool. Then they hid 13 from you. But really, honestly, you can't get to 13 regardless of whether or not they told you about it unless you're aware that it's there. And an internal level, you cannot perceive that which you do not understand, right? Because if you don't understand it, it doesn't exist. So even if you're told about it, that's knowledge. It's not wisdom. Wisdom is the experience of it. Knowledge is somebody else telling you about it. They can tell you all day long. That don't mean you're going to believe it. Right? So it's not necessarily they hid it. It's so much as esoteric knowledge is hidden for a reason. You don't give ultimate cosmic power to someone who can't control themselves. Why? If you don't have control of self, you wish to control others because you need that control. This is why 13 doesn't exist unless you can pass all 12. Okay? So let's start. What are the 4 elements? Fire, air, earth, water. In that order, right? Fire, air, earth, water. Understand that these build upon each other in a specific way for a reason, okay? I'm going to explain it from the very basic perspective. Volatility of elements, okay? If you add air to fire, what happens? If fire does not have control of self, it cannot keep from going the second that the air touches it. When fire has control of self, air comes in, creating a vortex. Get it? Okay. Fire has control of self. Air now has control of self and control of where the fire goes. When you create a vortex, you now have a beam. The air, without touching the fire, creates a strand of energy. Now, if you add that with earth, which is uncontrolled, or even air and fire, which are uncontrolled, you burn up the whole motherfucking place. In an instant, gone. Then, water. You just burned everything. Now everything's just sand and rock. In comes the water, you have a mudslide. Oh, fuck. I fucked it up. Now I gotta start all over. Each element has to be learned how to be controlled by itself and before it can interact because of the volatility of their combinations without control. Think of what happens when you don't have control over water and fire. Water is the last of the elements for a reason. The molecule of water by itself is so inconsequential you can't even think about it. But the more water molecules you add, the more cohesive they become. Water is an amazing element because it so easily changes form and is so cohesive that that which is a teeny tiny molecule can destroy a building just by crashing into it. And it breaks apart so it doesn't destroy itself. It's both strong and malleable, separate and one. It is the conquering of duality itself. It can be all ice or steam and interact with the fire. If you make it to that, well, I shouldn't say it. When you make it to that point, you are now at a capstone level, okay? You have conquered all 4 elements. You get to go to the next level and start again with learning how to control fire at this level. And then up the cycle until you get to the next threshold of water. This is no longer just learning how to control the water, it's learning how to deep dive. Because that which is beyond that water, that is untouchable. It's intangible. It's expansion beyond the form. You no longer need the form. You can revert back to the element in self-control. Top 4. Then enter the capstone, Ophiuchus. After you've finished your 12-year cycle, you have the opportunity for that 1 year to enter into Ophiuchus, bring it all together, and graduate. It's ridiculous how easy this is for me to see this. Because I look back at what I once thought was a chaotic mess of life, and I see a very intricate life plan that is unbelievably amazing. Let me explain. So, fire. That's your creativity, right? So we're taking it to a very basic element because we are at the lower 3 of, well, my 12-year journey from 4 to 16. Okay? So from 4 to 8, I'm learning how to read, I'm learning how to write, and I'm learning how to do math. 3 things I absolutely love. I am diving so deep into my creative world. Oh, wow. What I created kept me alive. It kept me from hardening. It kept me from dying. It kept my fire from going out. What I dove into from the ages of 4 to 8 were me building my hearth so that my little fire wouldn't go out. 8 to 12, I spent deep in my inner world, built on classic literature and the underestimated hero. Oh, by the way, those first 4 years were the archetype of the love incarnate, love protecting itself. Okay, the second was the underestimated hero. I took on every single one of those classic literature books and I saw every single bit of it as a hero's journey and a way for me to be able to model my own life. And you know what's really funny is my favorite ones always fed into that love incarnate. Beauty and the Beast was my absolute favorite book, because she didn't see the monster on the outside. She only saw what was within, which was my love incarnate archetype. Every single one of those stories with the heroine who had to rise above the problem, fucking Gone with the Wind, favorite book. Call of the Wild, Gary Paulson's The Hatchet, all of these books about people who rose above problems to become heroes. That was me building my underestimated hero. Nobody knew me. I was isolated. I didn't know people. I didn't know how to interact with people. Awkward isn't even like a strong enough word. This was why 10 to 14, well, 12 to 16, the isolated hermit that had been created, that was my 12, had to be able to crack out of the hole that I had been buried in. The isolated hermit was the last 4 years of that. That was where I baked, if you will. And out popped the societal rebel. I had never been touched by the fad. We were poor. I was isolated. I didn't even get to wear girls' clothes. So I didn't there was absolutely nothing materialistic that could give me any kind of value. So I didn't give, when I stepped into 14 to 16, I kind of just snapped. But I gained a new power. Unfortunately, it was only driven by anger and misunderstanding. So I can see the evolution of my being based on that. And then I move into the second 12-year cycle. And you know what's crazy is at the very end of that 12-year cycle in 2012, my 28th birthday, you know what's crazy? That was the best fucking birthday I ever had in my life. And it's really funny because I always talk about that. I always have a bad birthday. And everybody's always said, oh my God. But there's only ever been one birthday, one, that I've ever enjoyed, and it was my 28th birthday. And that was the opening of a Fucus. I had the chance to walk through that golden gate at the age of 28, but I wasn't ready. So I couldn't perceive it. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Literally, I had a golden platter handed to me, and all I saw was the fucking chrome. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I am going to go and sit down, after I've already discussed this, and after I've discussed the archetypes that I've gathered and overcome in my life. And I'm going to look at, especially at this particular situation and every single one of the other ones that I walked away from. A few of my relationships, they weren't terrible, but I just wasn't interested. But this particular one, this 2012, legit, I can honestly say he's the only man I've ever been with that did not deserve the way I treated him, did not deserve for me to walk away, and was way underrated. So go back, look, see what it is that you were afraid of and ran away from. I know exactly what I was running away from in that time. And I can see every single pattern that has been screaming in my face since that said, hey, you had this. You had the chance. Look, you're still afraid of it. You're still afraid of it. Stop being afraid of it. Why are you so afraid of this? So smaller doses were given, right? So I am gonna go ahead and cut this off, and I will talk to you guys later. Whatever else I dig up, you know I'm gonna share. Bye.